Forging ahead amidst a pandemic. The year 2020 is marked by the COVID-19 crisis. Against this backdrop, we would like to share with you the stories of a few textile and garment industry leaders who have remained agile and resilient, exploring new opportunities, or even contributing to the community. Featuring Anil Rajvanshi, with host Nicole Kohlers. Welcome to ITMA Live. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the last session of this ITMA Live series, Forging Ahead Amidst a Pandemic. It is my great pleasure to introduce our special guest today, Mr. Anil Rajvanshi. He's the Senior Executive Vice President and Head of Regulatory Affairs, looking after petchem of Reliance Industries Limited. Mr. Anil Rajvanshi, thank you for being with us today.
It's my pleasure. Thank you.
So Reliance Industries Limited, otherwise known as RIL, is the largest private sector company in India and a Fortune Global 500 company. Please tell us more about Reliance and the secrets behind its success.
You see, Reliance is a 40-year-old company. And in 40 years, we have achieved a market cap of $150 billion US, which is somehow larger than Google. And we have achieved an annual revenue of $92 billion. We would have crossed $100 billion in this 31st March, but due to the pandemic, the first quarter things slowed down. We could not achieve, but still we have achieved a net profit of $15 billion US, which in itself is a big achievement. And that is because Reliance has ability to dream big and deliver to scale in time without any cost and time overrun. And that has made Reliance special when it executed the world's largest refinery that it is operating on the coastal area of Gujarat. That was one example that we had set of how such a large refinery can be completed and operated in a record time before the scheduled time of completion. This is all because we believe in one thing, that there is equality among the people who are working. People are our assets, and we have to give them the equal opportunity. We have to treat them equally, and we have to look at it in a way that our employees come second, but our customer comes first. Because it is the customer's satisfaction that brings us the business. And we believe the customer is a king. And we have to satisfy the customer to his fullest, because in the present circumstances, the whole world is small. There was a time when we used to cross one continent to another continent in 45, 60 days. Today, in 4.5 days, a ship can cross a continent. And physically traveling in 12 hours, you can cross 4 continents. So when the world is small, there is a lot of competition. So to survive the competition, you have to produce the best. You have to be the best in the sector. You have to be most cost efficient in the sector, and you have to deliver in time. Not only the projects, but the products.
It's all very inspiring, what Reliance has done and what it is doing. Please do tell me how this pandemic has affected Reliance. How is it coping? Have you had to make any adjustments?
Yes, Nicole, we had to adjust because it's not a normal situation like what you call it a normal market situation. It's a special market situation where this pandemic has created both the panic among the buyers and the panic among sellers. So we had to make adjustment. Like previously, before the pandemic, we always used to believe that we produce for our domestic market, and we used to export some 30% of our product to the overseas markets. But after this pandemic, we had to shift 70% of our products to the export market, and 30% was only remaining in domestic market because the downstream of fabric manufacturing and the garment manufacturing has not started as yet fully. So there has been changes, and we had to change the strategy into exports also, because no longer that we were able to make exports to the Europe and the America, which are the traditional market for the textiles. So we explored the markets of North Africa, South Africa, and Americas. We went right up to Ecuador, we went to Colombia, we went to Peru, and we also went to one very tiny country, Ivory Coast. And when we visited Ivory Coast, we found that so many neighboring African countries. I told you the first time I traveled from Ivory Coast to Republic of Benin, to Togo, to Nigeria, to Namibia, and finally to South Africa. So that was an experience of lifetime where I find that there is a demand for everything. So it's like, what happens? You take example of a shoe salesman who goes to Africa. The one says there is no demand because nobody wears shoes. The other one goes and they say there is a tremendous potential because nobody wears shoes. So it's how you look at it. But then definitely this pandemic has given us opportunities to look at the new markets, to look at new people, and more importantly, touch hearts. That was more important for us.
So these are certainly positive outcomes. You've been able to be flexible and resourceful. You've shared a lesson as far as saving your resources as well. Is there any story that you can share that you've been able to reach out to the community while doing all of this?
Yeah, we could. Because we believed in that though this is a pandemic, the whole, globally everyone is suffering. But then within these sufferings, people also need solace. They need a shoulder, not in the sense that they have to cry and they need a shoulder, but they need a shoulder to stand up. And if you provide them the shoulder today, and when they start standing up on their own, then you will reap the benefits of what you are doing today. But to serve the community, this was the golden opportunity. Reliance was the first country which donated $7.5 billion for the Prime Minister Care Fund for Corona, for fighting this pandemic. So not only the $7.5 billion of the cash contribution, it also provided 100,000 food packets, 50,000 masks, 50,000 PPE kits, and those things are still continuing today. We have a very interesting organization called Reliance Foundation, which is run by Mr. Mukesh Ambani's wife, Mrs. Neeta Ambani, who also runs the venture of Reliance Sports, where we have the Indian Super League. We own a T20 cricket team, Mumbai Indians. Now they are having the matches in UAE. Because of the pandemic situation in India, all these IPL 2020 shifted to UAE. So we are doing a lot of philanthropy. We have a organization called Drishti, where we replace retinas of poor people. We have a Reliance Life Sciences, where we are doing the stem cell research. And there was a very interesting incident that there was a bomb blast in the bus some years back, and there was a person who has completely lost his eyesight. So Reliance has taken out those stem cells from his eye, developed them, and re-injected, and by the grace of God, he has started seeing again. So these are some of the philanthropic work that Reliance is doing, besides helping people, besides running blood bank, besides running a full-fledged hospital, which is known as Reliance Hospital, which is a 500-bed hospital. And we have created a special 200-bed care facility, healthcare facility for the COVID patients. It's a dedicated facility of 200 beds to serve the COVID patients. Because in Bombay, as you know, and India as a whole, we have crossed 60 million cases. And Mumbai is, being a large metropolis, is one of the worst affected. So this pandemic has given us an opportunity to serve the mankind, to serve the poorest of the poor, to serve the people who are in need, to look after them, to give them the food, to give them the shelter, to give them money, to give them medical aid, and to treat them in one of the best facilities. Not only that, whatever they required, that was done. But besides that, it's not only in the state of Maharashtra that we did, but we did it in the other states. Whenever there is something happens, whether it is a floods, it's a cyclone, Reliance rescue team is the first to reach there.
So this is certainly a strong commitment to your community, your customers, as well as constantly create new value for your customers and shareholders. In this respect, do you think how critical is it to invest in cutting edge technology?
You see, let me share with you that Reliance invested in 40 years. If he has invested, say, 100 rupees 40 years back, today he has 100,000 rupees. So that is the kind of value that Reliance has created for their shareholders. As I told you, that Reliance is has very innovative minds right from the beginning. We today rolled out Reliance Digital Platform, wherein we have provided the largest data network of 4G, and very soon we are going to develop the 5G network, totally indigenously made. And that is a great achievement that we are doing. And this network today has about 500 million customers who are using 4G data, who are using the voice calls, who are using the video. And today, interestingly, this interview is also going on the Reliance Jio data. Cable is through the optic fiber cable, which is laid to our residences. So this is one of the things, and other initiative that Reliance has taken is establishing a retail venture, which is a Reliance Retail. Now, after having 20 billions of investment worth, giving out the shares of Reliance Jio digital platform to company like Facebook, Google, Silver Lake, KKR, we have given them all. They are so much interested in taking that. Now the KKR and Silver Lake, they have also invested in the Reliance Retail venture, where we have number of outlets. We are in the digital electronics. We are into the grocery store. We are into the vegetables. We are selling vegetables, fruits. Not only that, during this time, we are making the home deliveries to the people. You just order online all your grocery, your fruit, vegetables, and we deliver. You order, we deliver.
So Anil, we've been talking about technology. What about the impact of digitalization in the textile industry? A lot of businesses have had to increase their online presence. What do you think about this? Do you think this trend is here to stay?
I think if you are asking me about the digitalization, I would say that in terms of artificial intelligence, in terms of digitalization, because that is the reason, as I told you, the companies like Facebook, Google, Silver Lake, KKR, they have invested close to $20 billion in Reliance Jio platform, which is not a small investment, which is directly made. It's one of the large foreign direct investment that is made in the digital platform ever in India or in Asia. It's a record in itself that such large giants are investing in a country's digital network. So digitalization is the future, and the future belongs to Asia.
So, do you expect a quick business reboot and an increase in buying activities as soon as a vaccine is presented for the coronavirus?
Definitely, definitely. You see, even today, people have learned to live with this pandemic because what they have understood clearly that there has to be a social distancing. You have to put on the mask. Now, mask has become a like you are wearing a t-shirt or wearing a shirt is part of your clothing that you put on the mask. And that habit, once it is developed, will guard you against this pandemic. And definitely, I think there is a time that every country it is peaking out. It has reached its peak in India. I believe so, unless the second wave comes. And if God forbid, if the second wave comes, I think that will end one third of this world's economy forever if the second wave comes. So let's pray together that we don't see the second wave coming here. But one thing I'm very clear and I'm very hopeful that countries like India, countries like US, countries like China, I mean, all these countries, they are working on the vaccine very, very seriously. In India, the two companies have reached the stage 3 trials, and now we have started the human trials. In the human trials, we have started with the worst affected patients, and it has been successful. But how soon the commercial quantity in the required number is produced, that's a challenge. But then, so long you have resources, the country that has resources, we will be able to cater. We have provided something like $30 billion for the commercial production of the vaccine. And once it is there in, say, 100 million vials a month, then I think, barring that, there will be a fear somewhere in the back of our minds that there is a problem exists in this country or in this world where we are living. But barring that, I think people will start leading a normal life. The number of opportunities will come to save further. There will be opportunities for consolidation because some people have already suffered and they don't wish to suffer more. Some people may change over from one business to another business. So there will be opportunity for the existing business to expand. There will be opportunities for the venture funds to finance the startups, new startups, and there will be a lot of changes that economy will see world over. And now I'm seeing it because every country is putting in money which they can. They are bringing in extra resources. They are borrowing money. They are borrowing from market. They are, if necessary, every country has a monetary policy either to print notes, the currency notes, or to borrow from the market, or to raise the government treasury bonds and raise the money. But whatever you may say, this pandemic, I believe that in the next 3 months, situation will start normalizing. That's what my belief is. And I believe in, of course, everybody believes in destiny. But I think sometimes you defeat the destiny and you have to move forward.
Well, it's all very inspiring and exciting what Reliance is doing, and I'm sure the community is very grateful and looking forward to seeing what you have in store for the next few months, the next year. You yourself, you're inspiring. Thank you for sharing your wisdom and your knowledge and your opinions. So, Mr. Anil Rajvanshi, thank you so much for your time.
My pleasure. Thank you very much.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, we've reached the end of the last session of this ITMA Live series, Forging Ahead Amidst the Pandemic. Please visit itma.com for more updates on ITMA 2023 and stay tuned for our next ITMA Live series. Until then, stay positive.
And stay safe.
Thank you. And stay safe. Thank you, Anil.